Hi everyone, Aviator Sim here, and we have a special video for you today. Today we will be taking a first look at AEROSOFT's brand new CRJ-550 and the United Express livery. This flight will be operated by GoJet. So we are currently at Dulles International Airport. We'll be taking a flight down to Savannah International in Georgia, and this service will be provided by United starting April of 2021. So we're just going to hop into the cockpit, play around a little bit, get a feel of the plane, and then head down to Georgia and see how we like this plane. So I will see you guys in the cockpit. Alright, here we are in the cockpit, and our expected time to take off is going to be 14:35, I believe, Zulu time right here. It's our first day on the job, so I'm probably going to be a little late, so don't hold me to that time, 14:35, half an hour from now. So we'll see how things go. Alright, let's go over to our tablet. And as you can see, we have no jetway, so the doors are open, the stairs are out, and the guardrails are up on the stairs. All other doors are open, all cargo doors were connected to the ground power. Service doors open, which we can close now. We got service already. We can definitely close that. And you have a bunch of aircraft states over here. I'm currently in the turnaround state. In a later video, I'll do a cold and dark start, but today this is just a first look at the plane, seeing how we like it, so I thought turnaround state should be fine for us. Here we have the flight plan page, and on this page, I already have the sim brief loaded into the work folder for the AEROSOFT CRJ, so instead of inputting the origin, destination, and doing the legs, it's just going to pick up what I have already filed on the SimBrief site. So all I have to do is just put in the codes. So we are at Dulles International, which is KIAD. And after that, I'm just going to put in Savannah International, which is KSAV. And from here, just going to put that here in route. And now my route's loaded. I'm going to click execute. And there, here we see it pop up. There's our route. So it already has the runway we're taking off, and from here what I want to do now is go to departure. See, we have our SID already, just double checking everything. And now let's go to our arrival and see what's in there. ILS 10, that is what I had. Let's go to our legs page. Everything is matching up with the sim brief flight plan that we have. Everything looking good there. And we're just looking for discontinuities. So here we go. We have one. So I'm just going to click into Tilly and replace that discontinuity and hit execute. And here we go. That seems to be the only one. I just inputted all of the calculations that we need for today's flight over here in the performance tab of the tablet. Fuel is going to be 4,563 kilograms and 45 passengers on board today. Just going to hit set all, and this is going to populate into the display. So V2 plus 10, 146 knots, and that is what it's showing there. So we are looking good. Just going to go back down to the FMS. All right, here is our VNAV setup. So transition altitude in the United States is 18,000, so we can keep that. That looks good. Let's go over to the next page. Here's our cruising altitude, flight level 380, looking good. And last but not least, our descent profile. So we're going to start our descent at 290, well, Mach 0.74, and then eventually we'll have to change it into 290, and then of course 250 at 10,000 and below. So looking good there. And there's no way to calculate flex temp in here, so I'm just going to leave that blank, and I'm just going to go toga for our takeoff today. Let's keep things easy. Alright, and this little knob right under format and range, if I just twist it one time to the left, here I have my plan. So now I just went into MFD ADV right here, and I'm just going to click along the waypoints just to see if there's anything out of the ordinary. There shouldn't be, but let's just double check. So Scoob, of course, is going to be the first one. So we're hitting next, and we're just clicking through this again, just making sure there's nothing strange. And then if we click the knob right here in the front, the longer one, we can zoom in and zoom out. Alright, so everything looks good with that. Now that the FMS is all set up and our performance page seems to be set up on our tablet, let's turn on the APU. I'm going to hit power and fuel and start. APU start right here, and we can see it right here. Hear those lovely sounds of the APU from outside the plane. Right now that the APU is started, we can take off the ground power. We can remove that, and let's close all of these doors. Passengers are boarded. Parking brake is on, so we can take the wheel chocks off, and all of our doors can close as we're about to get ready to taxi. Right, let's go ahead and turn our passenger signs on. So no smoking, that should already be on. I just turned on the I just armed the emergency lights. ELT is armed, that looks good. We have nav beacon, logo, those are on. Those are the only ones we need on for now. Up here, I'm pretty sure I was able to get the windshield heat on. The probes are on. Let's see what else we need up here. That looks good. Fuel boost is on. I'm about to get a pushback and then start up these engines. Alright, so that's looking good for now. So what we want to do is take all of these off. So we have Mac trim, stab trim, and yaw damper. Those are down here. We have Mac trim. We have stab trim, Mac trim, yaw damper. There we go. And that's what we want to see, that yellow on the Mac trim. We want to see that come off. So we're looking good there. And now what's left? So the window heat is still yellow. So I'm just going to get a pushback, and then we're going to figure out how to get that off of there. Right, my parking brake is off, so the pushback should be smooth and easy. Pushing back to the right, because the runway I am taking off on, which is runway 12, runway 12, is all the way on the other side of the airport. So we have a pretty long taxiway, and I'm not going to make a pretty long taxi, excuse me, and I'm not going to make you guys suffer through that. So once we get a pushback here, I'll be able to start these engines. Alright, pushback complete. Parking brake is on, and now I'm just going to fire up these engines. So fuel boost pump on. Before start checklist, landing elevation set. I don't need to set my landing elevation before I start. I'm not going to do that. Altimeter is set. The altimeter is 29.80. FMS checked and set. Correct. Aligned nav. Correct. We're good to go there. Radios and nav aids set. Takeoff brief complete. So clear to start. APU on. Electric set. Takeoff data set. Doors closed and locked. Beacon on. Fuel pumps and quantity on. Hydraulic pumps auto and on. Let's just double check. Let's just double check those. So we have on. We have 3 on, 1 auto. So I'm just going to assume that's good. And parking brake on. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and start these engines. So first, just going to start the right one. Just going to hit start. And we're just looking at the NT right here. Once it gets to 20, I'm going to click this red button and bring the right engine to the idle position. Right, the N2 reached 20. Let's put that engine in the idle position. And we can hear the engine spooling up. Let's go check that out. There we go. that looks great. Right as that starts to stabilize, we're going to do the same exact thing with the left engine. Going to click start. Wait to see 20 here, and then put this the throttle into the idle position. And I said don't hold me to time. I'm 10 minutes or 11 minutes now over our scheduled departure time. So I can lie to you right now and say that we'll make up the time in the air, or I can just take it as this is our first day on the job and we're just going to have to bite this one. Alright, there we go, our 20. Put it into idle. And I'm a little above idle, but that's better than me pulling it back and then cutting the engines, which happened twice while filming this video. So I'll just leave it where it is. Then I'll worry about getting those idled after they stabilize. Alright, they have stabilized. There we go. So now my engines are back to idle, and all we have is the window heat warnings right here, the windshield heat, window heat, windshield heat warnings. So I will try to figure that out, and I'll be back with you guys in a bit. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find the way to take off the window heat or turn on the window heats. The buttons appear to be in op, though I don't think they are. Maybe it's just a bug. But before we taxi here, I'm just going to turn on the nose wheel steering. Going to arm that. Bleeds were set to auto. Packs are on. APU, I turned the APU off. Anti-ice I turned on. Looking good here. And taxi. We are taking off flaps 8 today. So let me just put in flaps 8. And flaps 8 is 2 notches. What else do we have here? Trims. We want the trims to be in the green. And what should our trim be for today? I believe that's on the performance page. Flaps 8. Here we go. Trim 6.1. So we can see our trim right there. 6.1, perfect. And this aircraft has a lot to go through to take off, to land, a lot of checklists to go through, a lot of buttons to click. That's because their aim was to be study level, and I'm not disappointed. Not yet, at least. I'm still on the ground, but not disappointed yet. Flight instruments checked, brake temp check, we're good there. So the next one is before takeoff, and we will be there shortly. Right, my taxi lights are on, and here we go. Just going to start my taxi over to runway 12, and I will see you guys shortly. Welcome back, everyone. We're holding short of runway 12, runway 12 here at Dulles International Airport. I am just going to go back over to our tablet and go back to the checklist. And before takeoff checklist, it tells us fuel X-flow manual. So fuel X-flow is going to be manual right there. Good. Flight attendant advised. They advise TCAS on, radar set, and next will be the climb checklist. So we are ready to take off. Our reverse thrusters are armed. That's good. Alright, let's do it. Here's the moment of truth. Just a reminder, rotating at 125. And we're going to see right up here, it's going to, I believe, come across the screen in green. It's going to be our toga. Right, we are cleared for takeoff. Everything is set. Our rotating speed will be 125. And as far as the detents on the throttle, it's going to come across here and say toga when I reach that. So I know what I'm in. So parking brake off. Put some throttle in there. And runway 12 is 10,501 feet long, so plenty of runway for us to reach our rotation speed and take off. Alright, here we are. And throttle coming in. Climb in toga. Toga is what we want to be in, and here we go. Now just controlling with the rudders until we get to our rotation speed of 125. Here we go, V1. And rotate. And a right turn to match up with what our flight plan is telling us. So speed hold in and autopilot engaged. Autopilot engaged. And let's go back to the climb detent. And flaps coming all the way up. Okay, well, a rough takeoff, but we seem to be stabilizing the plane now. Let's just put our speed up to 250, under 10,000 feet. And no auto throttle in the CRJ, so everything's going to be handled manually. We're in the climb detent right now, so we should be fine until we reach our cruising altitude. Then we'll have to pull the throttle back and manually mess with it to find the sweet spot. Appears to be a lot of turbulence today. Hopefully in the Savannah area it's not too bad. Past 10,000 feet a little while ago, landing lights came off and the plane is under control now. So let me just go over to our tablet. Climb, we want the bleeds and APU set, thrust reversers off. You can go ahead and take those off. And cast checked. So the next one will be descent. So right now let's just focus on flying this plane. As we pass through 18,000 feet, I am just going to set standard pressure. The barrel is right here, and if you click into the middle of it, it changes to standard pressure to 9.92. So now that that's done, I will see you all when we are approaching our cruising altitude. Welcome back, everyone. We have reached our cruising altitude of flight level 380. As you can see, the Mach right here, our speed is climbing to 0.76. We want that down around 0.74. So now's the time to manually start adjusting those inputs, because we're no longer in that climb detent and we are cruising, pulling back on the throttle. And it's all about finding that happy medium. I'm sure after flying this a few more times, I'll be able to find that with no problem. But for right now, of course, on the first flight of any brand new aircraft with this many this many buttons to hit, displays to pay attention to, you're definitely going to get sidetracked and the speed is going to slip. That's going to happen. So I am in my cruise, and I will see you guys when it's time to descend into Savannah. Hi everyone, welcome back. We are about to prepare for our descent into Savannah International. We're still at our flight level 380, and about 15 nautical miles away from our top of descent. So when we descend, you're going to see, I believe it's a little blue circle is going to guide us on the descent, and a little snowflake over here. So I'm going to descent using the vertical speed hold. And when the blue button up here is here, it's going to let me know what should be my descent rate. Right, so I'm going to put my altitude down to 25,000, and as soon as we or right before we do that, I'm just going to trigger the vertical speed, and then I think I'm going to start off with 1,200 feet. And let's see what happens. Welcome back, everyone. I am finally descending down into Savannah International Airport. We're crossing 31,000 feet on our descent down into Savannah. Everything is looking good so far. I have my vertical speed my vertical speed indicator is set, and I'm manually descending down into the airport while controlling the throttle. So I will see you guys probably when we're crossing 10,000 feet and are on approach. I will see you then. Welcome back, everyone. We are finally on approach into Savannah. We have our ILS dialed in here. See down here we have, let's make it easier to see. Down here we have Tilly. We're 25 nautical miles away, passing through 5,000 feet, and our speed is about 222 nautical miles right now. We're coming down to 200 right now, and we're going down to an altitude of 2,700 just to be just to line up and intercept that that ILS and glide slope. So everything's looking good right now. Just gonna slow up my vertical speed. Can slow that down to about 1200. That looks good. And the spoiler can go back in. There we go. Alright, we will be landing soon. We have our landing lights on. Passenger, no smoking and passenger signs are on. We're looking good. We went over our checklist. It was really quick. We have passenger signs on, thrust reversers, landing gear down, not yet, but thrust reversers are armed. So when we get closer, I will see you guys again. Alright, first set of flaps coming out. Passing through 200. Let's just put this heading bug right now on 170. When we pass through 180, we'll go down to, I believe it's 8 degrees of flaps. So we're just getting everything configured because the airport should be right over here somewhere. Yep, there's the airport right there. We'll be coming over here and landing in this direction. 8 degrees of flaps coming out. And I'm putting some throttle back in here. Man, if you take your eye off of this plane, you can definitely end up in a stall quick. So we will be approaching at a 135 knots today. So I'm just going to put the third set of flaps down, which I believe, if I look over here, that's 25 degrees. We have a tight turn that we have to make in there, and we are right here. We're going to cross through Tilly. It's probably going to take us out here and come back in. Once it takes us out here, or once we cross Tilly, I'm just going to engage the approach hold, and hopefully that lines us up perfectly for the ILS, but we don't know. This is my very first time flying this plane, and that's what the first look is all about. And a beautiful day here in Savannah, Georgia. Perfect weather. Not really much wind, not at all, to be honest. Sun's out, few clouds, and our first landing in the CRJ-550 for GoJet Airlines. And when we land on runway 10, we're hopefully going to take either the first or the second taxiway on the left, because the terminal is directly next to that, so that'll make life a lot easier. And here we are. We just crossed Tilly. Here we are turning. Just going to put my speed down a little. Let's complete this turn. Right, so we've captured the glide slope, which is great news. My landing gear is coming down now. Right, so the autopilot has us dropping speed pretty fast, down to 1600, and I think right here I'm just going to take over. So autopilot disconnected. Here we go, my controls. And I'll have to see why that happened. And final set of flaps coming up. Let's put some throttle in here to get some elevation. And this is definitely not the best approach, and I am blaming the autopilot on this one for sure. But hopefully I can correct things and get on the ground. Handling this thing on the approach, you can tell that this handles really well. I'm using the honeycomb flight yoke, and there's not one problem. This plane moves smooth with it. Alright, runway in sight, gear down, and I'll be doing some reading on the autopilot functions in here, specifically the approach hold, and a few other things. Alright, my feet are in position on the rudders. Here we go, this is the moment of truth. Let's hope we don't crash and have to do this flight over again. That would suck. Here we go, PAPI lights. Looking good, looking good. Right over the numbers. Throttle coming out. Here we go, hold it off. Oh, that was nice. I didn't think that was going to be nice. That was nice. And the nose is down. So flaps coming up. Good, we can take the thrust reversers off. Landing lights coming up. Taxi light on, strobe can come off, and the wing light can come off. We can, however, start our APU right now. And let's just go to the after landing checklist. So seat belts off, not yet. Fuel pumps off, beacon off. Oh, that's shut down. Of course it is. Transponder, slats flap 0, lights good. Probes off. That's what we forgot. Probes off. Alright, let's taxi to the gate. Alright, there we are. Everyone, thank you so much for flying along with me today. This was our first look at the brand new CRJ-550/700 series from AEROSOFT or Microsoft Flight Simulator. First regional payware jets in the sim. A lot of bugs that we've experienced today, a lot of things that we have to look up, study, and know for next time, but nonetheless, we had fun flying this flight, and I hope you guys stay with me and catch me on the next video, because there will be many of these to come. I will see you guys on the next one. Aviator Sim is out of here.